Okay, everybody, we are live. We are absolutely live here for a Wednesday edition of the Slate. It is damn good to have you. I am Emerson Latzia, Jeff Ulrich, usual suspect, Colin Sherwin, kind enough to join us and hang out for the next half hour or so to talk some NFL odds, some PGA Tour odds, where his wild adventures will be taking him next. Thanks for hanging with us today, dude.
Good to be here, my man. This is going to be a fun one. Well, primetime golf is always good. The only problem is if you're trying to watch it and you're paying for PGA Tour Live on ESPN Plus like I am, they did not send the camera crews over to Japan, cheapskates. So you're going to, yeah, I know. There's no way to stream this bad boy. So you're basically watching it from unless you're hacking some stream internationally.
Yeah, don't do that.
Don't do that.
That's
no VPNs, people. You're gonna probably need to just watch it from 11 p.m. to 3 a.m. Eastern. So actually on the West Coast, it's not that bad on the Golf Channel, because that's about the only way you're gonna be able to watch it.
Every time I try to open up like an illegal stream on one of my computers, someone from like IT or engineering at DK is like, "What's up? what are you getting yourself into this time?"
Yeah,
and I'm like, "Oh, not a
research for work. I'm doing research.
I'm just trying to watch the damn Jaguars and getting Colts here, for crying out loud, because I'm too cheap to pay for Red Zone or Sunday Ticket." All right, we got producer Eamon trying to keep us on the tracks. Behind the scenes, we got AC on the ones and twos. Jeff Ulrich, hello, how are you?
Emerson Latzia, how are you doing?
I'm doing good, man. I'm doing good. I've been trying to text you all day. I'm trying to find out how young you are, and you won't give me a straight answer. You're not being serious, as always.
Can we set a line? And go over under?
Yeah, set a line.
Yeah,
we can do that. Why don't we start at the top, and I'll tell you at the end of the show.
I will.
Okay.
All right. I'll set
you
the line.
set the line.
Emerson, I'm going to set the line 35 and a half.
Yeah. See, I could see him being sneaky young. I could.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. I know where I'm going.
We'll reveal it at the end. That's fine.
Okay.
All right, dudes.
End of the show. You got to wait till you got to watch the whole show now.
Yeah. You're damn right.
They call that in the industry, don't you, Emerson? I don't know what they call that, actually.
We call it a tease. That's what we call it. We call it a tease to kind of keep you coming back, And that was a really good tease. So now everyone's going to stick around for the next 30 minutes.
That's a test.
Unfortunately, they're going to have to make it through us talking about tomorrow night's football game, dude.
Yes, let's start there.
Yeah, let's go ahead and do that. I mean, I know we'll talk about it much more tomorrow on the Sweat, which Jesse will host solo from home. But it looks like we may be in here, Jeff, for another awful Thursday night football matchup, but that does not mean there's not like player prop value out there and other value for some of these bets. Maybe some of these are the games where you can kind of like sneaky get in some spots and actually win yourself some money here on the DK Sportsbook. So now it is essentially a pick 'em here, Jeff. Was there injury news that came out today, right? That may have had an impact here. Was it always this tight?
I'm pretty sure this line has always been this tight. Okay. There's actually been money coming in on the Bears. So the last I looked, it was getting close to like over 60%, which is kind of, for me, that gets into fade territory, especially with a team like the Bears. I'll be dead honest. I mean, if I'm going to bet a side, it'll be the Commanders, but I don't really have a problem just looking at this team, these teams, and just being like, I don't feel comfortable betting either of them. Do we really want to trust Carson Wentz down the stretch to close it out? No. Justin Fields is playing behind an inept line. Who knows what kind of fatalities could await him like late in the game, as Colin. I don't know where Colin went. There it is. But yeah, so for me, like the line in this game is kind of a stay away. I do lean Washington. I don't know why everyone is so eager to bet the Bears all of a sudden. I mean, Fields was okay last game, but I think that Washington will still be able to move the ball on the ground a little bit. Brian Robinson's back. That might be an interesting prop to hit up. There are props that I like in this game. I will say that. I definitely going to be betting this game, but it's more the prop side.
All right. What side are you on here, Colin? Let's see. As a home team, Bears are 1-0-1 ATS. Washington 0-2 ATS on the road this season.
So is this where I go this is my NFL strategy, guys. I'm not going to lie.
Okay.
I know you probably are aware that I tend to be a little bit more focused on college football than I am on the NFL.
I
So
gotcha.
my general strategy in these spots is to like find smart people who follow the NFL and then chase their props. But as somebody who comes in from the outside here, I mean, look, this is a bad football game. These are two bad football teams. But are these defenses so bad that the over looks good? Because turnovers turn into points. And that's the only thing that I'm worried about is, I mean, you're looking at, Justin Fields has been, I believe, I don't have the trend in front of me, but I believe Justin Fields has had some serious over potential since joining the Bears. So something to keep in mind.
He is coming off his best game of the season, though, albeit in a loss.
Correct. So you know what? That's not necessarily a bad spot either if you're trying to score points. So, I mean, these two teams are pretty inept. This is some pretty bad football. I do watch the NFC East because I am an Eagles fan, and Washington's just, they're so bad. I mean, this is such terrible football. But,
dude.
I would chase over here probably, if anything. But again, then there's the trend that like you don't want overs on Thursday nights because teams tend not to score. So I'm not real sure here.
I mean, Jeff, we are talking, let's see, the 26th and 27th ranked scoring offenses here. Washington averages 16 a game, like Chicago 15.2. Like I feel bad for Al Michaels and Kirk Herbstreit. I mean, in a way, no, not really, because they're making so much damn money. But like tomorrow night, they're going to have to sell another game like on Amazon Prime to the entire country.
Yeah. I don't feel too bad for Jeff Bezos either. But
like their bank account.
I mean, look, I'm a huge NFL fan, so I get up for games like this. Like I like to watch Justin Fields play. I want to see if the Bears can maybe just, get Darnell Mooney going. And I agree 100% with what Colin just laid out. I actually like the overplay better than a side for the simple fact that we've got two bad defenses, man. Like we've seen games like this before where it's like, oh, the offenses stink. How are they going to go over? And then like Seattle and Detroit go for like 100 points. We're not going to go for 100 points here, but absolutely Justin Fields and Darnell Mooney could get going. The Washington Commanders have a bunch of good receivers. I think you could see a bunch of broken plays here. Broken plays lead to points, turnovers lead to points. I think 38 is actually like, I mean, we get why the line is at 38. I mean, Chicago runs the ball like an insane rate, like they're, playing in 1912 or something, but I still think the over here is very hittable. That's the side I'd be on.
Yeah, because the Commanders defense is terrible against the pass, but the Bears are not like a passing offense here. And the Bears defense is terrible against the run, but the Commanders aren't a rushing offense. So really, I have no idea what the hell to expect tomorrow night. And it could be an over.
Well, and this is a good time to transition to props because
go ahead. Especially because we know Colin's just going to tail whatever you say.
No, he said sharp people. He said sharp people.
No, I was going to say, by the way, keep an eye out. Right now on splits, the under is 45% of the action, 46% of the cash, 45% of the bets. I think that might be just getting sandbagged a little, possibly. Yeah. I think that might be. So you still get off. If you're going to do it now.
Okay. All right. So Jeff, what stands out to you?
So like the matchups here are definitely worth playing. Like I think Darnell Mooney. So what we've seen, like Justin Fields, if you start there, like his passing prop, it's up to 170. Last week is at 165. It was a really good over opportunity last week, and he smashed the over against Minnesota indoors. But like here, one thing that I noticed, Mooney's prop really hasn't moved this week. And realistically, like the Bears passing offense is Darnell Mooney. I mean, when Justin Fields goes for over 100 yards, Mooney's probably getting 50 of them. This is a really weak secondary. Darnell Mooney, even on like 4 targets, could get there for us. And I think that his prop still is just too low for this matchup. Like they've adjusted Fields a little bit, but really we haven't seen anything from Mooney's being adjusted. So at 45.5, that's one of the stronger plays for me. And then we'll flip that to the other side of the ball. You mentioned the Bears rush defense, and I agree. I think that the Commanders will rush the ball a little bit more. And we've got Brian Robinson Jr. here on prime time. The guy who came back from taking a couple gunshots in the leg. Unbelievable story, man.
It is.
And he's taking the snaps, like he's getting the early down work. This is the guy they want. And he was pretty productive last game. And now he gets a weak rush defense on prime time. Of course you want the over here. I love this play too.
So the Commanders have been torched by top wideouts in their opening 5 games too, including 6 passes of 40 or more yards allowed and 7 individual wide receivers amassing 60 yards or higher in those 5 contests. So like Mooney's receiving yards prop Thursday Night Football, like that's definitely a bar he has not had much trouble topping in his past performances.
He went for 4 games of 100 yards or more last year. I mean, I don't think his success rate in that regard is going to be as high, but I do like this prop tonight as well. Alternate lines on Darnell Mooney or tomorrow night. Darnell Mooney can get 75 plus yards, plus 350 and over 100 yards, plus 750. If he's going for a 100-yard game this year, it's probably going to be Thursday against like the weakest secondary in the league. So,
I mean, Colin, again, considering his like growing involvement in the offense there, talking about like Mooney, Fields does have some growing confidence, like at least a little bit. The company the Bears are keeping on Thursday night, who they're going up against, like I feel like what was it again? 43.5 receiving yards, Jeff, like
45,
40. Okay. He could potentially knock that total out in one shot.
No, for sure. And the one thing to keep in mind here is, though, this is probably going to be one of our first weather games of the year as well. Right now, looking at it's going to be about 47 degrees, or excuse me, is that right? Yeah, about 46 degrees at kickoff from what I'm seeing right now in Chicago.
I thought I saw clear skies and like temperatures in the 30s or feel like in the 30s.
But windy. And so keep that in mind as well, that might keep these teams that are already pretty ground-based, like seriously ground-based, possibly. I'm pulling that right now, but that's something to keep in mind. Also, Carson Wentz, and I'll say this as somebody who is as an Eagles fan, I wish Carson Wentz very well as a person. But on the road in weather, not exactly like lights out, you know what I mean? So this 218.5 in bad weather with Carson Wentz, I don't care if you're playing against the little Giants. I mean, like this feels kind of undery, you know. Shout out to our friends at the Ringer, who had this excellent podcast with Rufus Peabody that just came out, and basically they went through and showed how they were betting the Super Bowl. Just hammer the unders. You know, and especially in this spot with bad weather, prop game on a Thursday night where there's going to be a lot of public action, just bomb the unders. So just find bad players and bet against them. Carson Wentz kind of fits that category, especially in bad weather.
Jeff, before we go to DFS, any other like best bets for this one that you like that you'd love to dish out?
No, I mean, like those are the two main spots. I mean, again, Colin's right. Like, I mean, I'm not. Curtis Samuel's reception prop is something that you could look at the over, but at minus 140, I'm not hitting that. If that was like minus 110, I would lean over on Samuel. He's because again, you don't have to rely on him for the big plays. I mean, he is essentially being used in the short pass game. If Carson Wentz can't complete throws downfield, he's just going to pepper Curtis Samuel more. But at minus 140, it's too much. JD McKissick, is like one of the leaders in receptions for running backs. But it's 3.5. It's a pretty big prop. So I'm really just looking at Mooney and Robinson.
Okay.
Montgomery's prop's a little bit too big for me to take an over. I do think that, if the weather does stay, like it'll be a little bit dicey, but I'm still pretty bullish on Darnell Mooney. Like unless it gets really bad and we get worse, then I'll move off it. But that is the one over I'm okay with. Everyone else, Colin's pretty much spot on. Like you don't really need to go. You should probably think about taking some unders on some of these dudes. Like, Terry McLaurin, God, it's such a low prop too, like 3.5 receptions, but you are getting like plus 130 to take the under. It's a pretty interesting game for props. It's kind of tough to bet, but those are the two spots that I like the most. And like I said, if we do get even okay weather, I will be hitting the alternate lines on Darnell Mooney. I really think that he can do something here. But the weather does have to cooperate a bit for sure.
All right. So, maybe tough to bet in some spots, tough to build a DFS lineup. We know that I know we know
the
that
kickers.
Justin, right. Like we know that Justin Fields here is like the safer quarterback if you want to go that route. But I'm going back again to Darnell Mooney at like 7.6 at least he is like in the flex. One other fact that I found was, let's see, so the Commanders defense is giving up 190 yards per game to wide receivers this season. That's 4th most in the NFL. So it could be like another spot, but you want to go with this young man.
Well, yeah, I'm just putting him up for the flex.
Okay.
This is a game. It's definitely one of the weirdest games for showdown we've had. I think Fields rightfully so, is like should be projecting as your captain. He's got the big rushing upside. If he throws one ball in the end zone, he's gonna have a very good chance of being the top scorer in this game. So like there's that, but there's a bunch of like different what you call just like secondary players like Brian Robinson Jr. is definitely in there, but Darnell Mooney is probably in there. Even JD McKissick. If the game and the script goes like in the direction of that player, like if the weather's not that bad and the Bears are moving the ball okay through the air and they give Fields a little bit of protection, absolutely. Darnell Mooney could pop up with the 100-yard game and the touchdown, and maybe he ends up being the guy. I think that one's a little bit too thin for me. I don't mind Mooney as a flex, but maybe like Brian Robinson Jr. comes and dominates on the ground as well and falls in the end zone twice. Or McKissick, has to play like the short pass game. The dude's had, 5+ receptions in 3 of his last 4 games. So all these players feel like a little bit thin though. Like I really do think you should just play Fields and your captain and then just mix and match. And like if I had 10 lineups, I might go like 8 Fields. Like honestly, that's kind of how strongly I feel about it.
Okay. Yeah, well, you know what? His rushing floor is the key there. I agree with you because he's run for at least 47 yards in each of his past 3 games. So that's 146 total. That's the equivalent of an extra passing touchdown per game. And like we know he hasn't done a whole lot through the air, but Commanders do allow the 11th most DraftKings points per game to quarterbacks this season. You got any kind of DFS lean here, Colin, in this game tomorrow night before we move over to golf?
So Ron Rivera this week basically called his quarterback a backup level quarterback.
Oh, yeah, dude, so when I heard that I was actually kind of floored. And then he took a few steps back, and then I guess he addressed it in the team meeting, which Wentz was like, "Okay, we're good now." It's like, no, Wentz, he's kind of right.
Yeah, we're
definitely right.
You're not good. You may be okay personally, but you are not good in any way, shape, or form. Why not just throw it on Taylor Heineke here? You know what I mean? Like if you're going to try and play a counter strategy in a huge contest, like that, I mean, you can spend a hell of a lot more money on all elite players if you throw Heineke in as the possible quarterback. And by the way, Carson Wentz made out of glass anyway. So like, why? If you're going to enter multiple lineups, why not throw one lineup out there where you could put the backup quarterback in for the Commanders and then spend all of the money on all of the elite players otherwise? Just throwing it out there as a possibility.
I'm going to say it's not the craziest thing I've ever heard, Jeff.
Only in a big contest.
Was there a showdown? I thought we talked about this recently. Wasn't there a showdown last year?
Yeah.
The game with like Marcus Mariota or something where someone had like the backup quarterback actually in their showdown lineup. And
it might have been Mariota.
Okay. Yes.
That and sounds correct, actually.
Yeah. So like, the backup quarterback was in this showdown lineup, and that son of a bitch won. Because he kind of took Colin's strategy here where listen, you're going to try to catch lightning in a bottle here, but
it's probably like, you don't have to do that. But at the same time, to Colin's point, if we're going to see like some kind of situation where that does end up happening this year, this is probably the place to do it. Like Wentz is injury prone. The coach doesn't like him already. They do have a capable backup who won them games. So yeah, I mean, this is the type of game where it feels like something like that will happen. Like Heineke will come in and maybe like run for like 100 yards. It definitely feels like a game where something like that is going to happen. Maybe Sam Howell comes in. Who knows? I don't know, but
my guy. My guy. I like that kid.
Yeah, no, I mean, the Commanders should be itching to get Sam Howell in there. I mean, he's a really interesting prospect coming out of call. I'm surprised he dipped as far as he did. Good pickup by Washington. I hope we see him this year, but I mean, it's such a weird game because like when you get to a certain level, like once you get past JD McKissick, it feels like anybody below him could get you like 10 points to 0 points and you wouldn't be shocked. Like there's nobody you can really sit here and rely on. Equinemius St. Brown, he could get 0 targets. He could also go for like a 70-yard touchdown. The kickers could be terrible because of the wind. Like Cam Sims could show up because like Jahan Dotson's out, or he could do nothing. Like there's nobody you can sit there and be like, okay, this guy's really good value. Once you get under JD there at 6,400 on the flex, like you're just basically throwing darts. So that's the type of game it is. that's kind of how it feels for betting too. Like just, like I said, I lean Washington, but really just trying to fade the public. But I don't know if there's anything worth fading for Washington. So yeah, this game is all sorts of crazy.
I know, dude. I'm actually kind of excited for Friday morning to see what the winning Millie Maker contest looks like, which everybody watching right now, $15 to get into a Millie Maker. So get weird and have fun. You could win $1 million. Who the hell knows?
And like, I think there's some strategy here of like fading the defenses because I already have the defenses in here. Like the defense is going to be really popular in this game. I mean, everyone's thinking the same thing. Yeah. So, if you did create some high end lineups, like with maybe like Fields with like Mooney and Brown and St. Brown, you're going to be a little bit different at the very least. So I don't know. This one is, like I said, all kinds of weird, lots of just like role players who could pop up or do absolutely nothing.
All right, guys, let's.
And if we get Taylor Heineke coming in, I mean, I don't even know what we'll do Friday morning.
If Taylor, look, if you do
Dude,
this,
I'm going to crap myself live on Instagram if that ends up happening to honor Colin.
I'm you know what? I shouldn't have given away my strategy because I might actually do this. So, but if you do this there's 18 weeks this season, so 36 games. You got Thursday night games, Sunday night games. And the Monday night games too, so 54. You do this strategy of just playing the backup quarterback 54 times a year. Tell me that you're not going to cash huge for a big number in $1 million contest at least once. I don't believe it. It's going to happen.
Listen, you could be onto something here. So that's Thursday night football, though. Typically, that's the same day first round PGA Tour gets going. No. Listen, lineups lock here in 2 hours, people, because across the Pacific, yes, the traveling circus is going to roam this week to the Zozo Championship, a very nice treat for golf fans in Japan, and an attractive late night viewing option here for the night owls back in the States. I may prevent going to bed at like 9 o'clock like I typically do to stay up and watch a little bit of golf here. Colin, on the board, top of the board, near the top of the board, are there any of these so-called heavy hitters here that you are backing for this one? And Tom Kim, that was so damn impressive last week. That he's got to be a hot bet for a lot of people.
He's a hot bet, but he also had to fly literally halfway across the world. And coming off like what he did, that just seems like a big emotional rush for a 20-year-old kid who can drink and celebrate in Japan, but he can't drink and celebrate in the United States. He's 20 years, 4 months old. So I like Colin Morikawa. My insta fade this week is all of the guys that had to make the trip. Because that's really far. You're losing a day, and you're losing a day in the air, and you're losing another day once you get there because you're flying 13 hours ahead. So like it's really tough to keep body clocks in rhythm and things like that. I think a lot of these guys are going over there because they feel committed to the PGA Tour. They want to help grow the game. A lot of these players are Asian based, and so they want to help grow the game in that part of the world. They want to play in front of friends and family. They want to play on that timeline. That's fantastic, and I'm all for it. Doesn't mean you're going to play well. So especially with things being pulled in all different directions, Morikawa did not play last week. I think that's a huge advantage. He has been over in Japan visiting his family, apparently, been rested, ready, kind of tuned up. This course sets up perfectly for him. Yep. It's a chip and putt par 70 that guys are going to be, it's going to be in the 20. You're not winning this thing unless you're shooting 20 something below. Yeah. So this is going to be a really tough week, and not a tough week. And I really like Morikawa at 14-1. I think that's a really bad price. He didn't finish the year real well, but I hadn't played a lot since. I'm going to assume he's been working on his game.
Yeah. And it's I'm glad you brought that up too, because I was talking with Jeff about it this morning. Hopefully he's kind of figured something out there on the greens, because he's lost nearly 10 shots putting in the final 2 events of the FedEx Cup playoffs. Jeff, I think you had a few positive things to say about Morikawa, but also a little deeper down the board, your boy Mito, will you get a better number on him too at 30 plus 3,500. He keeps inching closer to his first victory. And one thing we forgot to mention this morning as well, he putts his best on bent grass here, dude.
It's true. He does have actually pretty positive bent grass splits. Bent grass was at the PGA Championship, had probably his best putting week of his career there, or one of the best. And to the point about Morikawa, first of all, I agree with Colin. Like there's another player I think we're going to agree on here down the list in a second who rested last week. But Morikawa, his putting absolutely gave him issues all season, but that is just the type of player he is. The putter is going to come and go for him. But when the putter is on, he's going to rack up wins. Like he's not going to finish T7. He's going to win. So like, you better just get on him. I mean, he should not be longer in odds. He shouldn't be longer in odds than either of the guys in front of him. He's a better player. I mean, he's, outside of Tom Kim, like, who's on like the nuclear heater right now, he's the best player in this field. So at plus 1,400, this is a very fair number for a guy who's got ties to the region. He's played here twice before. He sets up perfectly for the track. I mean, like a technical track for leaning on your irons. It's all about Collin Morikawa. Mito, I have to bet. I think it sets up well for him too. He was T4 in Japan at the Olympics. I don't like the fact he played last week, but you know what? Like, he played really well last week. I'm going to go on him one more time. And then the guy at the same number, and I know Colin likes this guy, Keegan Bradley.
Ooh.
This is the third time for Keegan. T13, T7. I'm going to add Keegan tonight. He wasn't on my initial betting card, but I think that the rest factor is something to consider. And Keegan, T5 last start, he had a really good year last year. He dipped a little bit at the end of last year, but you get him on. And the other thing about this course, the greens are a little bit slower. You got lower 3-putt percentages. Who have we seen win? Tiger, who, later in his career, it helped. I think the slower greens here helped Tiger, and also Hideki, who's a terrible putter. So like Morikawa, Keegan, even Mito, I think the greens here are going to help those guys.
Yeah, and Colin Keegan as well, going back to him real quick, among the leaders in this field in avoiding bogeys and doubles, which is always a good thing.
Look, Keegan is king of the top 5 and top 10, man. If he jumps out early, he can really get there. Now, on Sunday in the final group, there have certainly been challenges, but otherwise, I think he's just a guy at the top of the board, and this field sets up really well. Also, as we talk about guys who can't putt, it gonna rain. 100% chance of rain today in Tokyo.
Really?
This tournament, oh yeah, 100%.
I thought that was for Atlanta for the NLDS with Phillies and Braves. To be honest with you,
that as well. This is going to be for the Zozo. It is a no-go because we're looking at some serious thunderstorms. How bad those are going to be, who knows? Are they going to blow the horn and make everybody get off course? That I don't know, but that'll set up better for the guys who don't roll the rocket really as well. So give me the ball strikers.
2019. I mean, this event was just rain sought, and I think they just shortened one of the holes because it got flooded out. So. It rains but it's going to soften up the course, make it easier for guys like Morikawa, Keegan to just go pin hunting.
All right, go ahead.
Colin. I want to agree with the flyer on Mito. When his putter is in the bag, it is obviously one of his best clubs. I actually just spoke with the college coach that originally signed him out of college last week, and we were just talking about Mito and the fact that his upside in this place is just unbelievable. Now, he unfortunately didn't get to play for that coach. He ended up going to Texas Tech instead, but we'll deal with that. Otherwise, I think that this guy, I'm still heartbroken. I had him 130 to 1 to win the PGA and had him on the 18th tee. So like, he can win this thing. If anybody is going to make that trip and win this thing, I think he's probably your best bet. And now you're into the fade territory here. Look, I do think Ricky Fowler is going to turn it around this year. I don't think he's going to have to use a top 25 all-time money exemption to stay on tour next year. I think he's actually going to be able to find a way to stick this thing out. But it is real rough right now for Mr. Fowler. And I don't see anybody down the board here who I think can really this is not a week where somebody's going to come up and nab this thing out of nowhere. We love, Jeff and I love to go down the board and find the 100 to 1 guy that can give it a sniff, but that I don't think that's happening this week for sure.
Yeah.
Jeff, how far down the board are you willing to go this week?
No, I mean, I'm not wasting too much time around it either. This has been an event too. Like who have we seen win? Tiger, Hideki, even Cantlay, when it was a limited field event in LA won. I mean, these are 30 to 1 or better. I'm a firm believer, like it'll be one of a guy like that again. So I threw up Joel Dahman up there. He's gained 4 strokes in each of his last 2 events, but he's really a better top 10 bet than outright. I do think his outright number is a little bit too big for this field. I mean, I don't know why he's around like guys like Lipsky and names I can't pronounce. He's played well the last 2 weeks. So his number is too big for me. CT Pan is a very determined player. Obviously Asian connections, had the big bronze medal finish at the Japan Olympics. So he's got good ties to it, but he hasn't played well of late. And asking him to win an event like this, it's a little crazy, but still 200 to it's 20,000 to 1. I mean, like, or it's plus 20,000, excuse me. So like it's a nice number. You could think about it, but like, I'm not smaller bets on those guys. The money should be going to, like, up here.
Top of the board.
That's where.
Jeff,
right.
let me throw one at you. What do you think about Thigala? That's literally as far as low as I'll go. Quite honestly, he doesn't set up fantastically for this course, but again, I do think that he is just playing well enough right now where he might be able to overcome. And if he catches a heater, he might be the guy.
Yeah, I know. Like Davis Riley and Sahith Thigala, two really talented young players. Everyone expects to win to, but no one's really on them this week, which is kind of interesting because I think Riley may have even missed the cut last week. So
He did.
but they're rested. They didn't play last week. And like, to your point about Thigala, I mean, yeah, it's maybe not like the ideal setup, but I mean, if it plays a little softer too, like he can get aggressive, there's really no reason why he can't come in. So
Okay.
I don't know. I definitely consider Davis Riley too. Like, I think this is actually a good setup for Riley, but
All right. What about Luke?
I feel like we may regret there, but a good contrarian plays for DFS too. I know we haven't talked PGA DFS, but I think both those guys will be lower owned, and I kind of might just get my exposure to them there. So,
all right. Are we just sleeping on Luke List at plus 9,000? Because as you guys have mentioned already, mediocre to poor putters have found success here. Colin mentioned the weather, which would help some of these dudes who maybe don't roll the greatest meatball. Let's see, ranked top 10 in ball striking categories and, finishing T7 here last year.
Luke List giving up a mere 2.7 strokes per round as a putter.
Believe it. He has to find a way to minimize the damage around the greens. That's right. But that's where this monsoon comes into play.
Yeah. I mean, if anybody, maybe he has a top 10 play.
Okay,
maybe somebody who could,
there you go. Book
as somebody who could get on the board for sure. But
yeah.
I mean, I would suggest that Luke start putting with his eyes open, because like giving up 2.7 per round, like I can get on a putt course and not give up 2.7 per round. So,
oh yes, you would. I would smoke you if I see you in November. I'm going to smoke you at a putt course. And
buddy, the Scotty Cameron is waiting for you. You let me know when and where.
Oh my God,
Let's
you're
do
like
the
Reed
thing.
T. Fowler.
Emerson uses a broom putter. He's the broom guy. That's Emerson.
No, I am putting with a terrible.
He uses a mini putter. He uses the kid's putter.
Yeah, that's right. Very nice, Jeff. Very nice.
You're welcome. Luke List has his best finish over the last, like, wow, he's been bad.
You know what? Okay,
I
was just trying to get weird.
No, look, hey,
it's not the worst theory. No, it's not the worst theory.
I will be shocked if he pops up with the top 10. Your theory is correct. This is a good spot for List. I mean, like ball strikers courses, he almost won the RBC Hilton Head. It's like, I don't hate it, but I definitely, like, we're not taking him outright. The top 10 bet, I really don't hate it. Once you get into the bottom half of this field, it's completely wide open. All the players are the same, and Luke List has proven when he's on. Where did I go with the golf? That he can that he's as good or any better than some of the players in this range. So, but yeah, I think his ceiling here is probably a top 10. Good contrarian play for DFS. You don't need to go crazy though.
All right, that's all the time we have. We have to go. And Colin, you excited to watch UCF just absolutely destroy Temple tomorrow night?
No, but they're going to, and that's terrible. I mean, look, Temple. Shout out Kurt Warner's kid, now starting quarterback at Temple.
Oh, really?
Dude,
yeah, I don't care. Crush that kid. Send him to Publix up the road. Start bagging groceries like his dad did. I'm done. I don't want to hear anything about that.
What conference is UCF in?
The American Conference, where they are going to go to 5-1 with their win over the Owls tomorrow.
They'll be Big 12. They'll be Big 12 next season. We'll be playing with the big boys, so everyone leaves the Big 12.
Well, as everyone leaves the Big 12, you get to join. Hey, have fun with those travel games. I know you're going to really love Lubbock in October. There's nothing like it, buddy. Congrats on the
One of my best friends went out there to Texas Tech. That'll probably be a game that I try to make for sure. I'm like just will make these random ass trips.
I spent a month there one weekend for the NCAA tournament. It was literally, I've been to two cities where I've just been like, I'm never coming back here. And they're Hattiesburg, Mississippi, and Lubbock, Texas. Like never going.
Barbecue.
No, ever going again. What?
You didn't eat enough barbecue then.
Oh, in Hattiesburg? Lathis. I went to
Yeah,
Lathis.
it should be at the top, Jeff, because the game's tomorrow. If you're looking for it.
I am
Yeah.
looking for it, but I don't.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
What is
I'm
it?
assuming
23 and a
that they would do
half. Knights 23 and a half, total 46.
There it is, Jeff. There
you
it is.
go.
Where?
Okay, all right.
Oh, there it is. Oh, yeah. Okay, there.
Yep.
Yeah.
No,
Right there
baby. Hey, listen, somehow, some way, they will find a way to be 5-1. All right. Good stuff. Colin, thanks for hanging with us today, man. I really appreciate
Anytime,
it.
guys. Have fun.
Jeff, good stuff. We'll talk to you tomorrow, probably on the sweat. Colin, well, I'll talk to you Friday, talk some more college football.
Let's do the thing.
Okay, awesome. Producer Eamon, AC on the ones and twos. Love you guys. Thanks everyone for watching the sweat tomorrow morning live here on all the DraftKings social media channels, 11 o'clock Eastern time, the sweat. We'll see you tomorrow morning.